Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Micah Diaz. For those of you who don't know, I build cars and drive them fast. So we just started a new project. I don't know what we're calling it yet, Throwback 36 or T36. One of the guys brought up T. I wanted to run you down on kind of the things that we've already done because there's been so much done to the car and some reasons on why we chose to go with the products that we went with. So the first things first is the body. But for those of you who don't know, I have been partnered up with Street Fighter LA for a very long time. I actually debuted the 36 kit with them, and then I debuted the E46 kit with them. So when it came to the 36 and building a replica of Nick Franco's car or building a replica of my old E36, naturally I decided, if you've ever looked at the markup on it, I think it's about $2,000 roughly. They make a great kit that bolts right on and fits. Everything lines up with that amount of money you'd expect it to, and it does. Then we went and did something kind of wild. I wanted to pair it with another popular body kit that's on the market, that being the Click Tuning E36 kit. So we added a Click Tuning E36 kit, the front bumper, the side skirts, and I have the rear bumper put away. But so far, I've taken the Street Fighter kit, I've cut it in half, and we've installed the Click Tuning side skirts. And then moving forward to the front of the car, the Click Tuning E36 front bumper is really beautiful. It's a replica of a M3 bumper with some added Japanese JDM flare style to it, and honestly just kind of ties in the whole front end. And so combination of these two kits I think looks really aggressive. It has some really sharp angles, and I cannot wait to see it all one color. Okay, so if you know 36s, the next thing is going to be the power plant. Now, BMW does offer some really good power plants in the E36 platform. The S50, the S52 are great engines. Even the M50 and the M52 are great engines, especially for drifting. You could go and throw a 391 welded differential in this car and take it for a spin. With this chassis, it started off as a 318, which came with the M10 engine, which is a BMW 4-cylinder, and quite garbage. I know that there's guys out there who build them and turn them into really cool things. I'm not one of those guys. So naturally, with that being said, I wanted to maintain the 4-cylinder aspect of this car. So we started off with the Honda K24, but we ended up getting rid of K24 and we decided to go with a 1JZ. Now this is a non-VVTi 1JZ, which means that there isn't a variable valve timing or there isn't adjustable timing in the cams. And so what it means is that there isn't a lot of bottom end torque. Now I know that you can tune these and dial them in depending on your turbo size to make these motors feel extremely good. This particular 1J was in my buddy Sergio's car, and he actually had it in an E36. We took the engine from him. It came with the adapter, it came with the ZF transmission, it came with the engine mounts, the transmission mount, the turbo manifold, and the wiring harness as well that is from Wiring Specialties. Now, the only problem with the harness is that he got the Wiring Specialties harness to take this motor and throw it into an E46. So Wiring Specialties, we called them up, we talked with them, we sent them the old harness, and they are reworking it to be a plug and play setup in the E36 chassis. So what we should experience is plugging in the entire harness, plugging it into the stock BMW ports over there, and turning the key and firing up the engine. Now with this engine and more horsepower comes more heat. We've been able to partner up with Mishimoto, and Mishimoto has gotten us everything that we need to keep this E36 cool. So what we got from Mishimoto is a new front mount radiator, seen right there. We got a intercooler from them. It's a pretty large boy. We've gotten oil coolers from them. We've gotten couplers and even an expansion tank for our radiator. We're gonna have to figure out how this all works together because the BMW cooling system and the Toyota cooling system are kind of different. So we're gonna have to figure out how to make these two work together, but we will have no shortage of cooling. That's for damn sure. They also make parts for other vehicles as well. So whatever you're building, or if it's an E36, they probably have it. So the car's got a pretty aggressive stance, and you're probably wondering what suspension's under that thing. What we did is we always do, and we went with some BCs. We went with the BC ER series, which means the external reservoir. And what that allows for is a lot more control over our shock, more fluid. It's gonna be a better ride at the end of the day with a lot more adjustability. The other thing that gives it an aggressive stance in the front is there's an SLR angle kit on this car currently. Now we're gonna make the jump over to an FDF kit because that's what we're currently running on the Pro car, and I gotta tell you, the amount of angle is insane. Now when it comes to the rear end of the car, we went with the true coilover setup from BC, again another ER series, but we also have the proper FabWorks upper and lower control arms, so we can extend the track width if we want and get some fine tuning out of it if we have to. with the rear end being completely upgraded on the suspension side of things, the last thing and the natural thing to do is jump into the bushings. So all of the rear end bushings are done, and we went with Condor Speed Shop. I've been working with them since day one of my driving career. They were my very first sponsor, and ever since we connected in the beginning, I've ran their stuff on all the cars I have. This has Condor, that car has Condor, that car has Condor, the Pro car has Condor. All of my cars have Condor Speed Shop. If they make it, I run it. So I told you I wanted this to be like a street car slash practice car. I want to maintain a lot of the interior. I want to keep the radio, I want to keep the cluster, all of that stuff, keep the full dash, keep the carpet. I don't want to take any of that stuff out. So I thought to myself, what little things can I do to blend the two worlds of a street car and a practice car? Well, naturally, a hold fast steering wheel. It's my company, it's my brand. I wanted to do that. With it being a stock steering column, that puts the steering wheel in closer proximity to the pedals, and so I wanted to extend the steering column as far as I can because I got these long Puerto Rican legs. And so what we did was we put a hub on it, and then we did an NRG quick release, and then on top of that I threw on the Casino, which has about a 90 mil dish to it. So that brings that steering wheel a little bit closer to me while allowing my legs to still stretch under the dash. A part of driving a car is getting feedback from the seat. And so I work with Status Racing, and we did these collaboration seats, and they are super sick. This is the Status Circuit. Now the Circuit is a little bit of a bigger boy seat, a little bit more space for the hips. Feels really comfortable for me. I'm not a small guy. I'm about 6 foot, 6'1", 2 something. So with me being a little bit bigger, this is the perfect seat for me. We also threw in this super nice brand new stitching pattern that they haven't released yet, which is the flames. When I thought about this car being more of a culture street slash track car, I thought, yeah, we have to do the fire. And so now with a good seat, we'll get a lot of good feedback through our butt, which is, believe it or not, where you get a lot of feedback for driving a race car. And then moving forward, I wanted to continue to use products that I use in the Pro car. So the steering wheel and the seat I use, but also in the Pro car, I run a Chase Bay handbrake. Now this one's just kind of sitting in here. We ordered another Chase Bay handbrake we got is going to be a pull-up style, and so we're going to replace the factory handbrake. Everything's going to be hidden. I'm going to still try to use the factory sleeve on this handbrake. Now if all this gets pulled off nice and clean, then the interior will look pretty factory. So it'll still have the power windows, it'll still have the radio system, and I want to figure out how to use at least the heater. I don't think we'll have AC, but with all those things, the electricity is going to be in demand, and so we went with the battery, a special battery, something that my brothers have ran for decades and something I've been running in my Pro car now for 4+ years. That's the Optima Yellow Top. This battery here is the D34/78. This battery here is the D34/78. The cool thing about it is it's a deep cycle battery, which means that they have a long lifespan. You can kind of let them run low and you can kind of bring them back. Now I don't recommend it because it's not good for batteries, but you could do it if you had to. The other cool thing is that Optima offers a 3-year free replacement with proof of purchase. So if you have your receipts and all that stuff and somehow something goes wrong with your battery, they'll replace it for free. I've had 2 red tops, which I found out aren't the battery I should be running in my Pro car. I should be running 2 of these yellow tops. But I've had 2 red tops now in my car for about 4 years, and they've always been great. Along with my brothers, they've all ran red tops in all of their classic cars, which is more what that battery is intended for. The yellow tops are going to be for kind of a higher duty cycle. And so with the D34/78, you have a couple of really cool things. You have your top mounted traditional post, and on the side you have some screw-in style post. So you can run whichever one you want in any configuration. This is more of a universal battery. Now for the E36, we originally got this battery, but I think what we're going to do is jump over to a DH7. Now the DH7, what it is basically, it's a yellow top version of a BMW battery, so it's a little bit longer in size. It fits into the cubby just right, with the battery terminals lining up with ease. Now this one will work in the car, but the DH7 just fits in better, a little bit more snug, and it's like it's supposed to be there. There's a lot of really good parts that are going to be going into this build, and one of the big reasons that we choose a lot of these companies is because they make quality parts. And for those of you who have a drift car or have had a drift car or really any type of race car, if you cut corners with parts, it gets really difficult to spend time driving the car on the track because you're probably in the pits broken, or you're probably back home trying to order another part from God knows where. So with building a car using the quality parts will keep us on the track. This E36 should be no exception. we're using all of the best parts I know, and full transparency, a lot of them are my partners, but I don't like to partner with companies that make garbage. So we've chosen who we've chosen, and we've been blessed with who we've been blessed with. So huge thank you to everybody we mentioned today. There's gonna be more parts that are coming in. We still gotta get a drive shaft for the car. We gotta figure out all of the radiator hoses, Mishimoto stuff, but there's still a ton of stuff to do. One of the things that you'll see changing here soon as well is that we're gonna have some new Motegi wheels going on to it, but for the time being, we'll run the Service 2 wheels. So with the E36, time will tell, and we'll prove that to you. As always, thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, hold fast.